Good day, everybody. Good day, and welcome to Morning Sip with Rev Melissa. And I am Rev Melissa, and SIP stands for Spirit in Practice. So I am an ordained interfaith minister, a licensed religious science practitioner, and a certified life coach. And I say that triune is my ministry of joy, where I support people in living life in joy, connected to their yes. So I hope everyone is doing well today. We are in our shadow series. Yes, we are. We're in our shadow series. And so have you thought about those 5 archetypes that I shared with you yesterday? And did you identify which one is your dominant one? Because we could be a little bit of all of them, right? Or a dominant one at particular times in our lives, right? So I'm going to just recap that. If you missed it yesterday, please go back and watch SIP yesterday, where I go into the five archetypes of the shadow. And Parker Palmer calls them shadow casting monsters. Shadow casting monsters. I don't call them monsters. It's just a part of who we are that is seeking to be integrated. Right? So, number 1 was the shadow of insecurity about identity and worth. And that's where you have self-doubt and worthiness, right? Number 2 was the shadow of the belief that the universe is a battleground and is hostile, meaning like everybody's out to get you. You got to defend yourself, like the world is at war with you. Number 3 was the shadow of fear, right? Fear of just the chaos of life, the fear of the chaos of life. It could show up as the fear of success, Number 4, the shadow of the paradox of the denial of death, where you just won't let things go. You want to resuscitate everything, especially relationships, right? You want to give it CPR when it's dead, it's done. You won't let it go though, right? That's the shadow of the paradox of the denial of death. And then shadow 5 is the shadow of functional atheism, right? And that's the shadow that believes they are responsible for everything and everybody, and you want people to do things the way you do it, and if they don't do it that way, then it's wrong, and you want to control everything. That is the shadow of functional atheism, and I confessed yesterday that is my dominant shadow. My dominant shadow is the shadow of functional atheism, the belief that I'm ultimately responsible for everything. It all rests on me. And it's like that sense of, I want it done the way I want it done. And if you don't do it my way, then it ain't right. It's my way or it's the highway, right? That is the shadow of the functional atheism. So which shadow are you? So some of you shared yesterday. I see you, Tim. You said number 1 and number 3. Yes. So identify your shadow. And this is from the work of Parker Palmer. And so if you're interested in taking a deeper dive, get his book, Let Your Life Speak. And he talks about the 5 archetypes and how we can go and integrate them, right? Because the shadow is about integration. It invites an inner journey to go within and to celebrate the divine truth that you are. The shadow is just casting a light. It's just casting a light that there is something within you that is in separation about the truth of who and whose you are. That's all the shadow is. So really the shadow is a gift. The shadow is a gift, not a monster. But sometimes the shadow could show out like a monster. I know my shadow shows out like a monster sometimes. And there are degrees to it, right? So you don't have to go from 1 to 10, right? With the shadow. Sometimes the shadow could show up like a 2. You know, just a little bit, right? Something under the surface, right? Kind of just lurking there, right? It ain't full blast. It ain't full blast yet, but it could be degrees of shadow. Yes? So that's just something to be aware of. It's something to be aware of, something that you can cultivate. And you also know your shadow is up when you are stuck in a story. And so we talked about the story last week, right? With the story series. When you are stuck in a story, your shadow is up running the show. If it's a story that ain't moving you anywhere, if it is a victim consciousness story, your shadow is running amok. Your shadow is running amok, and you got to go gather yourself up and bring yourself right back to the present moment and see what is there for you to integrate. Yes, it's an invitation. It's an invitation. So yesterday I shared with you all that I would tell one of my shadow stories, and my shadow had an interaction with one of my girls. So I have twin girls. They are 13 years old, and one of them, their names is Zola and Aria. So one day I had an interaction with Zola. So let me just give a quick little background so this all makes more sense. So I shared with you all that my shadow, my dominant shadow, is functional atheism, right? You do it my way, or you're going to have an issue with me, right? That's that shadow, right? I'm responsible for everything. That whole saying, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? When my shadow is driving, I want to be right. Forget about happy. I want to be right, right? And I am invested in that when my shadow is running amok. So one of the things that I tell my girls is, you know, if you need laundry done, and this is years ago when I was still doing their laundry, if you need laundry done, you need to let me know a couple of days before if there's something special that you need washed. And so one of the things was their school gym uniform, right? So I said, don't wait until the day before to tell me you need your gym uniforms to be washed, right? Because it drives me crazy. It just drives me crazy. Don't wait till the last minute to tell me that. So here comes my beloved Zola, and she is probably like 9 or 10 years old, something like that. And it's the day before. They're going to have gym on Friday, so it's Thursday night, late at night, and she comes and she said, oh, Mommy, I forgot. I need my gym uniform washed. So I told her, well, I ain't washing it. You know, I told you, you need to tell me ahead of time. I'm not washing it. And go ask your father to wash it, right? That's what I said to her. And so we all have shadows. Remember that, right? And so do children. Children got shadows too, right? And so Zola's response to me was, but Mommy, I want you to wash it, right? And I was like, no, I am not washing it. And so she walks away, and I'm not saying it like I'm saying it right now to you. It was my shadow speaking, right? So it was more like, I told you, do not come to me the last minute to have anything done. It's not going to happen. So I guess you're going to wear dirty gym clothes tomorrow because I ain't doing it. And she walks away. Then she comes back a little while later. Just like maybe a minute later, she comes back. She says, Mommy, can I talk to you? And I said, sure. And she goes, I came to you in peace, and you came to me in war. It stopped me in my tracks because I was already ready. Like for whatever she was going to say, I was ready. I was ready. But I wasn't ready for that. My shadow was not ready for that at all. I come in peace, and you come in war. So I had to go sit down. And I said, okay, all right. This child is saying something to me that I need to pay attention to. So I said, what do you mean? And she said, I didn't say anything to you. right? I said to you what I always say to you. And she said, no, mommy, it's not what you said. It's how you said it. It's your tone. It's your tone. In that moment, I was like, wow, I have been told that my whole life, just about. That is my tone. In every relationship I have been in, men have told me that I have a tone about me. I have a tone, right? They can't deal with the tone. What's up with that tone? And here's my 10-year-old telling me, no, mommy, it's not what you said. It's your tone. So I had to pay attention because I have been told this for decades, right? So there must be something to this for all of these people to be having a same experience of me. There has to be something that I need to look at, something that I need to integrate within myself. So I had to take an inner journey within myself and take responsibility for my tone and how I was showing up in my relationships. One of the most important relationships for me is my relationship with my sugars. I call them my sugars. Yes, that's one of the most important relationships to me. Yes. So I needed to do my work. I can no longer blame it on the relationships, right? Blame it on people not doing what they're supposed to do. What part am I playing in this? My shadow was running amok. She was running amok. And so I had to welcome the gift, right? I had to welcome the gift that was being presented to me from this beloved child of mine. Yes? So there's an opportunity that our shadow is presenting to us, right? And so the opportunity is to recognize it when it comes, because it comes. But sometimes we're so up in the story of our shadow that we don't recognize it. We don't see it, right? We have blinders on. But I'm telling you, a good indication is if you're getting the same feedback from different people about how you are showing up, about how they experience you, you need to pay attention. And pay attention to it as information. You are being informed about something within yourself, your shadow, right? That needs to be integrated into the wholeness of who you are. The only thing they are doing is shining a light on the shadow. And we know that you can't have a shadow without light. You cannot cast a shadow without light. Yes? No, you can't. You can't. So identify your shadow. When it's up, pay attention. Take a sacred pause. Stop what you are doing. Do not pass go, right? And check yourself. Go within. And so tomorrow I'm going to share 5 shadow tools you can use when your shadow is up, when your shadow is casting itself on other people. All right? We're going to do that tomorrow. So I also wanted to share, Viola Davis shared a story in her 60 Minutes segment this past Sunday. And she brought up shadow characters. So I don't want to give the impression that the shadow is always this dark, looming thing, right? Sometimes the shadow can be an opportunity for us to integrate, right? Integrate something that we desire also. Something that we desire also. Sometimes it could be a way, quite frankly, to escape an experience that we're having, right? So Viola Davis shared her shadow characters that she created with her sister, right? So she shares the story that she grew up in poverty, like deep, deep poverty, like rats in the home and all kinds of stuff. No food to eat, all of that, right? And she don't have no shame about it. She shares her story with beauty, right? So she shares these two characters, Jaja and Jaji, right? Her and her sister, and they were two rich white women from Beverly Hills, and her and her sister would go into these shadow characters that she called them, and imagine that they were these two rich white Beverly Hills women, and they would just imagine themselves eating all these delicious dishes, and they lived in this big old juicy house and everything. And that was a way for her to imagine another reality for herself. So she started planting these seeds. She called them shadow characters, right? And the shadow of fear, because when she was telling the story, I was like, I wonder what shadow that is. And the shadow that I think it is the shadow of fear. The shadow of fear, the fear of living in poverty for the rest of your life, the fear of not having food to eat, the fear, like all that fear, right? The fear of chaos, Life is chaotic, right? And how can I integrate that, right? Because the shadow of fear is sometimes the shadow of the fear of success, right? And so she flipped it because she integrated it. So she turned that fear of success, the fear of a chaotic life, she used it, right? And we're going to talk about the tools tomorrow. She used it to create another story for herself. So she started calling herself an actress very young. When she was in high school, she called herself an actor, right? She was like, I'm an actor. I'm going to be on the professional stage. I'm going to be in the theater. She was like honing in on and flipping the shadow of fear into the light of success, Yes. And she used shadow characters to do that. So when we have a healthy integration of our shadow, we could change our whole story. And that is what Viola did. And she mentioned in that she has to remind herself that she's not poor. And that little girl now gets to experience this grown woman as she is today. So that shadow's still there. And she recognizes it and she knows it, but she has integrated it and she has taken care of it. She didn't see it as the enemy. That's what I want you to know. Don't see your shadow as the enemy. She didn't see it as the enemy. She saw it as an opportunity to take an inner journey, to create another story for herself, and to imagine what that story could be. Yes? And you see the outpicturing of that in Viola Davis. Yes, she's beautiful and she has a beautiful life. All right. So we need to integrate our story about our shadow. I had to integrate that story about my shadow, about my tone, and my daughter was the messenger. She was the perfect messenger for me to finally get it. All right, y'all. All right, so that is where we are. Tomorrow, 5 shadow tools. You don't want to miss tomorrow. Because what's the point of knowing what your shadow is if you can't integrate it and take the journey that you need to take so that you are living in the wholeness of who you are, shadow and all. And then on Friday, we're going to wrap it up and I'm going to answer your questions. So Patricia had asked a question on Monday, how can you tell the difference between the projection of your shadow and an intuitive feeling about someone? So I'm going to answer that question on Friday. So if you have any questions about the shadow series thus far, just put it in the comments today and tomorrow. And on Friday, I will spend some time answering your questions. All right? All right. So that's what we got for today. We are living life in joy, connected to our yes. Connected to our yes. Yes, we are. All right, y'all. It's time for some joy news. It's time for some joy news. So, I just see my mother type. So did you wash your gym clothes? To tell you the truth, I don't remember, Mommy. I don't remember if I washed the gym clothes or not. I probably did. I probably did, but I don't remember. I really don't remember. So, yes, I see you all. I see you all. We're going to get into some joy news, y'all. We're going to get into some joy news. Yes, yes. Lenora, I'm talking about you today. All right, girl. I'm talking about us. We are all one in this. We are having very similar experiences. Don't think you alone. You're not alone in this, girl. We are in this together. Right. And sometimes our shadow needs to cry. Yes, Lenora, you make my shadow cry, girl. Girl, I was in tears when my daughter said that to me. I had to take a deep breath and take a pause, right? But it's information. It's information. It didn't make me a bad mother, right? It didn't make me a bad mother. No, it made me a better mother. Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And so that's the opportunity for all of us. But you know what? We got to do our work. We got to do our work. All right, so some joy news, y'all. So Friday, I am on the panel with a clinical psychologist. I have my master's degree in spiritual psychology, and there will be a clinical psychologist for the Holiday Blues workshop. It's a free workshop. It's being presented by the Zeta Phi Beta sorority. So if you want to be on in this workshop, please look at the flyer that is on my page. It's on my I Am Red Melissa page, the page you're looking at right now, and it's also on my Instagram page. It's called Holiday Blues. It's this Friday at 7 p.m. and it will be on Zoom. Okay, it'll be on Zoom. So please check that out. Please join me. I would love to look out on the Zoom room and see some of my congregation of joy with me. So this Friday at 7 p.m. All the information is there. The link to Zoom is there, so you can check that out. On Monday, oh, I'm so excited. It's the new moon on Monday. So we'll be meditating with the moon at 4 a.m. Eastern time on Monday. So what does that mean? On Monday, we get up at 4 a.m. for morning sit with Red Melissa. We do a spiritual practice, and we're going to be working with the shadow. We're going to be working with the shadow on Monday as part of our spiritual practice. So it's a very different format than what I do every day. So if you want to experience that, please join me on Monday at 4 a.m. Eastern time for the new moon meditation. All right. Podcast, Sit with Red Melissa. Thank you all for listening to the podcast. Continue to listen. Continue to share the joy news about the podcast. The Affirmative Prayer Series is up. I dropped all the episodes this weekend so you can learn, discover, rediscover, recover from prayer. Because some of us been taught how to pray in a very different way that separates us from God, right? That separates us from God. We want to pray from the oneness, from the connectedness of God, that indwelling God, that is who we are, right? That indwelling presence, that indwelling presence that is the individualized expression of who we are. We want to pray from the presence that is always present. So affirmative prayer gives you the tools to do that. And it's a 5-step process. So please check that out. It's been a lot of 5s going on in my life these last couple of weeks. So between the 5 archetypes and the 5 shadow tools, and now the 5 steps to affirmative prayer, we got a lot of 5s going on. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Let's see. So please check out the podcast. You can subscribe, you can follow me, you can support my work through the podcast, and you can share it with your circle of friends. Also, follow me on Instagram. I need to get my Instagram followers up. So please follow me on Instagram. So I'm doing a campaign, y'all. You'll know how I do these campaigns. So I'm just putting it out there that I have a goal. I have a goal by January 31st. January 31st, I will have 500 followers on Instagram and on Facebook on my I Am Rev Melissa page. And I'll tell you why this is important to me, right? I'm not really caught up in the number of followers. I'm really not, y'all, right? Who finds me, and I love it. And I love when you share me with others, and it's all divine. I do want to expand my territory, however. I do want to expand my territory. That is my heart's desire, right? That prayer of Jabez, right? I have on my altar this prayer of Jabez, right? And the prayer of Jabez said, "Oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory, that your hand would be with me and you would keep me from evil, that I may not cause pain." Enlarge my territory, right? So that is my desire. I'm not causing no pain. I'm just causing some joy to surface, right? Connecting with the joy. So enlarging my territory is my desire, and you can support me in that by sharing the joy news about what I'm doing, inviting folks to like me and follow me on Instagram and on Facebook. I Am Rev Melissa on Instagram and Facebook. And one of the reasons why is because I want to do other things, right? And a lot of these platforms are like, well, you need to have a certain number of followers. And I'm like, really? So it seems that the golden number, the base number is 500. So I'll put it out there. January 31st, 500 followers on Instagram and 500 followers on Facebook. And so it is. This is something better. Amen. Amen. All right. Please sign up for to stay in touch with me. You can sign up by going to my website, iamrevmelissa.com. Just leave your email information there so that we can stay connected. Yes, because I've got some wonderful things in store for 2021. Because you know why? Because my territory is expanding. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So I thank you all for your support. I thank you for showing up live. I thank you for doing your work. I thank you for knowing that you are divine. Knowing that you are divine. Yes. So you'll have a wonderful day. Right? Everything that I shared is right there in the comments. So just click on what you need, and I will be with you tomorrow at 10:30. And we're going to go through the 5 shadow tools that you can do and use to integrate your shadow, to take that inner journey, to celebrate the divine truth of who and whose you are. Yes. So peace and blessings. Peace and justice. What are we doing, y'all? We are living life in joy. Why? Because we are connected to our yes. We are connected to our yes. See you tomorrow.